And potentially people are going to be like, bro, do I leave my money in a bank where it's going to get a maximum of 3.5% for the next X amount of years? Or do I take that and put it into some of these speculative assets?
People are taking the money out. Okay, it's going to rotate. Is it going to rotate into crypto, which is known to be a highly volatile asset?
You can't keep blaming the interest rate. You can't keep blaming returns not coming in, because every other market performing, we're like, we kept thinking it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. But really and truly, it's making a lower high, another lower high, another lower high. And they were like, it's over.
The content presented in this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice, and listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research or consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Crypto flip.
In this week's episode, we'll be discussing why the Federal Reserve won't reduce interest rates any further and what effects that will have in crypto. We'll also be doing a market overview and see which tokens are pumping and which tokens might pump next. And free tokens. Who doesn't love free tokens? In the form of airdrops, we have a new tool which will tell you which are the best tokens to buy on Solana. But before we get into any of that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio platforms, we're available everywhere. Don't forget to leave a review because it helps us create new episodes. And if you're new here, we're three investors who like to analyze the market, get our hands dirty, and look at new potential investment opportunities so that you don't have to. And yeah, with that, we'll get straight into it. The first thing I want to look at is the market. So currently, certain things are pumping. Well, I wouldn't call it altcoin season, but a few things seem to be pumping in the market. So you really need to pay attention. One of those tokens is Hyperliquid, which has pumped over 60% in recent days. We also have Pump Fun, when the token itself has also been pumping. So I want to know, is it too late to catch these tokens? And if it is, what should we be focusing on? What do you guys think?
So let's just talk about general market sentiment as it is right now. And market sentiment is still fearful. Like, let me open my trusty app I made that you might should download. Generally, the market right now is fearful. Fear and greediness is sitting around 26. So people are still hesitant with getting into the market. When you break that into each individual token, you can just see that different things will contribute to people being less risk or more risk averse towards that specific token. I have no idea why Hyperliquid decided to go on this rip. I'm sure we can find out before the end of this episode and tell you, but the sheer fact that last week when we spoke, Hyperliquid was something like $23, $24. I think it went down to 22. And now this week we're seeing the Hyperliquid at $34. Means that either there's this extra volume in the market for hype, or they've announced some really cool stuff and it's just pumping the token. I know they do buyback and burns. Maybe that is what's pumping the token price right now. We'll see. But generally, the entire market, I wouldn't say that anything has changed. Like when you look at the price of Bitcoin is now sitting just under 88. Nothing crazy. I saw Ethereum went up to like $33,050, which was a little pump, and bare people were saying it's E-season. I don't know why you man would have said that. But yeah, I think the market right now is relatively stable. The little jumps that we're seeing in various alts is down to, I don't even know. I think Pub.Fun are going on some mad marketing run, and that's why we're seeing things like the Pub token has been doing reasonably well over the last month.
On the Pub.Fun thing, they're actually hosting a hackathon soon.
Oh yeah.
And the winner gets, I think, $250,000. But it's not the traditional hackathon of come and, build and then we'll award you money. From what I understand, I think you have to have already launched the token, and you have to document your progress over like 30 days, like build in public type of thing. And so you're kind of coming with some value. So I think that's how they're doing it differently. And I think that's what a lot of people are getting excited about as well.
I don't think they need you to have a token, but they would like if you create a token on the platform. And it doesn't even have to be crypto related. They just want you to build in public and refer Pump Fund as much as possible. And so that's a lot of money as well, because I think in total, it's like 2 million worth of prizes or something. But not only just that, like they've reached out to me to say, hey, can you do some research? Can you do some advertising for us? Like, show them in my videos. pump fun. And it's not just me. They've done this to a bunch of people that have crypto followings online. So I find it interesting that, bro, like last year, 2025, they destroyed the market. They did. And now it's like they got to a point where they're like, okay, things are slowing down. We need to get back to the roots. We need to
You know what you should do?
carry this.
You know what you should do? You should hit them back and say, yeah, I'll do it. But like, we need Elon on, the episode first, isn't it? You can interview Elon.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. Let's see how it goes. Not gonna lie.
I mean, like you said, I mean, there's been some rebound. I mean, even I think yesterday there was around like $100 million short, or worth of liquidation in short. And I mean, really know what that means. I mean, these leverage traders do not learn. Like, they like to leverage trade, fine, that's all you. But I think ultimately for me, what it looks like from an outside looking in, like, I mean, what it looks like to me is a counter rally that's happening. Like, literally, we'll have a few token pumps. Like, Bitcoin pumped all the way to 99K, got rejected straight away, slapped back down to 88K, and it's now hovering around our resistance again. And the 20 to 20 small with an average, small with an average, this can act as resistance. So it's literally, it can't get over that range, and it's just got me worried. And then when you compare it to the like historical movement, like previous cycle, the post-halving year, it's never really a good year. And I keep saying, like, the only thing that is basically keeping the only argument the bulls have is that gold is having a rally, gold is having his blow off top moment, and Bitcoin should as well. If gold was quiet, then I think the market was this, should I say, lazy, boring, dry, then there will be no argument at all that this trend continues. But the more I look at it, like, I don't want to believe it. I just don't want to. Like, with this new Seeker bag, I'm hoping and praying that Bitcoin pumps, because if Bitcoin pumps, it's going to put other stuff with it, and then generally any sub tokens will do well. But if it doesn't, I mean, if Bitcoin fails to hold this 80K range, like, that's just, it doesn't look good. Like, you know what I mean? This seems like a blip in a downward correction, fam. And I feel like we won't really believe it until we see a 40% correction in BTC or 50% correction in BTC and BTC. That's when we know, as veterans in this space, but like bull market, it's not looking bull anymore. So I'm concerned. I think right now is the time to pay attention. If Bitcoin's going to do anything, this is it now. It's had his, you know what I mean, a quick rally, quickly to go sold off. Now it's going to try again. If it fails again, I mean, right, it could get ugly very, very fast. And, you know what I mean, Google, like, got me wondering whether I should sell my Seeker token, because I can always buy back a cheaper price and just restake it, because and now it's just getting hammered. But yeah, I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing now is more rotationary action. But I also think that this is going to be the future of altcoin season. And I'm not necessarily saying that we're in the altcoin season right now. I'm just saying that it's not going to be, close your eyes and throw a dart at the wall and, you're going to get that 5x pump. I think you're going to have to be very locked into what's happening in crypto to be able to make the multiples that you're looking for. And right now, if we're looking at by sector, obviously meme coins, we've spoken about that over the past few episodes. Seems to be still doing well and still holding liquidity. With HYPE coming back, that sector could be coming back as well. But it'll be interesting to see, what are the next sort of sectors that will be pumping. I don't really have too many thoughts around that yet. I mean, we talked about RWA before. We talked about some of these other things, but yeah, I think you need to keep your eyes close to the ground. And I also think that with, the advancements in AI, I've mentioned it before, even this past weekend, we saw Claude bot, which has been revamped and relaunched or rebranded as Maltbot, which is a new AI advancement, and a lot of people have been getting excited about that. They even unofficially launched a token, not affiliated with them, but there was a meme coin launched in that name. And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more things which are tangential to what's going on outside of crypto, and crypto sort of bringing that in house and then leveraging it to bring some liquidity. And I'm not necessarily against that. So I think just keep your eyes and see what's happening culturally, and then if you see some big event or big advancement, and you should be confident, or you should just expect that something adjacent in crypto will definitely take off. And something that isn't taking off is the interest rates in the USA, because the Fed have said that they will no longer be reducing interest rates, at least in the short to midterm, and they'll be keeping them at around 3.5 to 3.75. So we can obviously assume that this is maybe due to the fact that the dollar isn't doing well, and they want to stabilize things. So what do you guys think, and what effect do you think is going to have in terms of crypto? Because we've seen what's happened in terms of gold, and do you think that can follow here as well?
I mean, the sheer fact that the government and the SCA have beef. I feel like there's been so much political struggle between them over the last, ever since.
You mean the Fed?
Into power, so over the last year. I feel like, the Fed. My bad. FCA. What the fuck is FCA? Oh, that's Brit.
FCA is the UK.
The Fed. The sheer fact that there's been beef going on with them since Donald Trump came into power, and all he's been wanting to do is reduce interest rates, and we haven't really seen that happen. For them to say that they're definitely not going to reduce interest rates, I think now in people's mind, they're like, actually, Donald Trump cannot win this argument, and it's not going to happen. And potentially people are going to be like, bro, do I leave my money in a bank where it's going to get a maximum of 3.5% for the next X amount of years? Or do I take that and put it into some of these speculative assets? Metal is going on a crazy run right now. Silver has gone up 60% over the last month. Gold, we all know, has been doing well and just bashing through bare all-time highs. Bro, even Pokemon cards have been outperforming some of the craziest stock markets and the S&P index. So I think generally, right now, people are like, I'm going to take my money out of the US dollar, which is why the dollar is weaker, and I'm going to put it into something that I have stronger conviction in just based on how it's running. And I don't think that's super correct, because gold will correct, the metals will correct, crypto will correct.
They already started correcting.
And they've already started correcting, but does it correct the same as the dollar will correct? Will you still be net positive? Obviously, it depends on when you get in. And I don't think people are thinking about that. But I think generally, we're just going to start to see some extra funds flow into crypto. And I double checked why Hyperliquid's been going up. The open interest is the highest it's ever been. And I think it looks like TradFi, traditional finance, is starting to put some more money into DeFi. And they're looking around and they're like, where should we go? And they're going into Hyperliquid, which is an established decentralized exchange. So the sheer fact that that's happening is a contributing factor for people do not want to leave their money in USD. So they're looking at other avenues to put it into. And crypto is going to be one of them. Do I think it's going to trigger a mad bull run? No. Do I think it's going to keep prices more stable than I originally expected for the year? Probably, but we'll see.
I mean, I want to echo a lot of the sentiment what you just said, Ricardo. I feel like, firstly, I think it's a bit of both. Dollar being weakened and just wanting to stabilize the economy, because if you cut interest rate too low, it already counters the original objective of what you're trying to achieve, which is to kind of lower inflation. So if you cut interest rate willy-nilly, as much as the president, that's what the president wants, he doesn't work for the president, he works for the people of the United States. So, I mean, unemployment rate, I mean, with the latest news, I'm curious to see what the latest unemployment rate is, because it's not exactly trickling on the up and up. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, it's not trickling on the way down. I think it might be trickling a little bit up. maybe a number by 0.1%, which is in the grand scheme of things is quite big, but it's not something small either. So I think what this tells me is, with no, like, I feel like the interest rate where it is right now is actually not too bad. I mean, it's only you want it lower if you wanted to kind of borrow funds or get on a mortgage or that kind of stuff. So that's when it really kind of like you want it to be a bit lower, but it's actually not that high. We've seen it at 4.25%, and then there's no one to complain at 3.5%. So that's just one. Two, this is the reason why I feel like, money, people taking the money out of USD, investing in foreign countries, investing in the metals, precious metals, silver, gold, palladium, copper. I think copper is next, actually, on to like the metal that could catch a quick borrow. So I'll keep an eye on that. No financial advice, but. And then when I look at these things from like a grand view, like point of view, this is why I'm like, people are taking the money out. Okay, it's gonna rotate. Is it gonna rotate into crypto, which is known to be a highly volatile asset, or will it rotate back to stocks, or rotate back into like other safe like investment vehicles? Like, this is where I feel like, okay, cool. Okay, let's say it does rotate to crypto. It's gonna rotate to crypto into like the best project side, the project that has stood trial of times, like Bitcoin mostly. And then I mean, you can lump in like a small amount on ETH, so hype. But I feel like ultimately anything else doing well, like metals having their own bull market, and the crypto dollars are not invited, like we weren't invited. And that's okay. That's okay, because they've done a little 20% move in silver, and they're all crying like, oh yeah, it's the best asset class in the world. But literally before now, you can point at any crypto token on the chart. When it's time to pump, you can easily cover that move in 1 or 2 weeks. So that's the beauty of being in an explosive asset class. But at the same time, the downside is there's not a lot of liquidity coming. There's a lot more tokens being minted, but not a lot of liquidity to go around. And that's my current issue with crypto. Like, the only thing that people trust there, the only thing, let's say now we all have houses and we all remortgage our houses and want to buy something. You will not, knowing that obviously this is tied to your livelihood and tied to you not being homeless, you will not put this money on altcoins. You just put on Bitcoin only. If you are forced to say, I'm buying crypto today, you probably only just focus on BTC. This is what got me wondering, like, man, this altcoins are smashed, and the next time Bitcoin doesn't rally or fall short of this next like run, altcoins gonna get creamed, and then I'm just looking for hope. I'm looking, I'm praying, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I feel like someone has to say this, because like this pattern looks really similar to the post-halving year that we had in the last cycle, where like we kept thinking it's going up, but really and truly it's making a lower high, another lower high, another lower high, and they were like, it's over after the 4th or 5th lower high. So you can't you can't keep blaming the interest rate. You can't keep blaming retailers not coming in, because every other market is performing. Equities is performing, metals is performing, and tech stocks are performing. The only thing that's not performing is majority of the altcoin markets are not performing. Bitcoin has done its move, and then I expect it to do another move. And I mean, will it top the previous move? I highly doubt it, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think when it comes to interest rates, it's interesting, because why do you want lower interest rates as a government or as a president? We want lower interest rates so that people borrow money, so that, the economy is stimulated, so that, money's flowing. I think there's an indicator, I can't remember what it's called, but it measures the velocity of money. And when money moves faster, I believe it's obviously better for the economy and stuff like that. So
100%.
Yeah, so you want all of this to happen so that, it obviously looks good for you and all the rest of it. But the counterbalance of that is if you do it in conditions which are suboptimal, then it's not going to work, because you still have inflation happening and all the rest of it. So it's a balance in that. But what does that mean for us as crypto investors and traders? Well, if the dollar is strong, then usually it's not a good thing for crypto. Similar with gold, and as you've been seeing, the dollar's been getting weaker, even though Trump says, yeah, it's not a problem, but that's another issue. And Bitcoin hasn't quite followed in the same vein, but it's obviously branded as digital gold, one of the sort of go-to-fly assets of what you should go to when ish hits the fan. And then when it comes to altcoins, that's mainly a rotational play after Bitcoin has done its move. Bitcoin has kind of done its move, but I think obviously there's still room left for that final rally, for that blow off top moment, which we haven't had yet. And if and when that does happen, which I still believe it will, then yeah, I think we can expect that later on. So it's still something to keep an eye on. But something else that you should definitely keep an eye on is a new tool, which I actually came across on X. Shows you all the latest airdrops, and what makes it even better than some of the existing platforms out there is you can filter. And what do I mean by that? Well, you can filter by pre-TGE, post-TGE, whether you want to grind, whether you want to airdrop farm, whether you want to invest money or not. It really shows you granularly the things that you actually want to know before investing time or even money to acquire an airdrop. Now, we know that airdrops aren't in the same state as they were a year ago or even a couple of years ago. However, there still could be some gems out there. And essentially, it is technically free money. So this, in my opinion, is a great tool. It's obviously not an endorsement. But what do you guys think about it? What's your first impressions upon looking on it?
Personally, I feel like, damn, I should have made this. My immediate reservation is they have this database update, so it's not like real time. And that's cool. That's cool. But in this day and age, bro.
But where would they pull real time data from?
I don't know. From the blockchain, directly from Solana. They could see things like the TVL, the entry, the funding, if they talk about generation.
But I think what Iris is asking, where are they gonna get the airdrop farming information from? Because that's the essence of the website.
I hear you, but where are they getting that from now?
I think they're just.
I think that money you can automate it.
I think they're doing it manually, actually.
Manually, or probably scraping like secondary sources, like listen websites and stuff. Yeah.
Listen, whoever made this, if you want to make this better, all you need to do is you need to hit us up there. You get me? Other than that, I'm looking through, and yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I don't know how they determine, like, obviously generational wealth is a filter, which is great. I don't know how they determine that Backpack's airdrop is going to be generational wealth, really. But Backpack is a Solana exchange. I think they're pretty big.
I think it's just a buzzword.
Under central
too. I think it's just a buzzword to get you going. They don't know. You never know. Like the Hyperlocal Dunnies, when they were farming, they didn't know they were gonna get a 50-bag airdrop.
Nah.
If they knew, they would have got their mom, their granddad, their grandmom to all be farming, fam.
That's a fact.
Yeah, so that's how I feel about it. But it is cool. Shout out to OS for a solo dev. Shout out to my man for making it.
Yeah, shout out to him for real, because I like when people in this space creating things or developing things and not just waiting for retail to come and save us, because retail ain't coming, fam. You know what I mean? You know why retail's not coming? They came before, they got scammed, and they're like, no, I'm done with this. So whatever time we're building something, and like, I always felt like when I first got into crypto, even though I didn't come into crypto to airdrops, but it's honestly not a bad place to come from, right? Honestly, you never know. Any of this airdrop, like, you have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? It's not like they can steal your data or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? There's some of those tasks are so easy, like the Solana one, just buying a phone, activating it, connect to your Seeker wallet, and then staking, and then if you want to do some god tier stuff, you know what to do, hit us up. But other than that, I think, yeah, I think I do think it's a good website to kind of just look through latest airdrops and see what's happening on. So, it would be nice if it was cross chain, but I think you gotta start somewhere, right? So you can't just, have a bunch of quantity, no quality. So it's good that they're focusing on Soul first, and then let's see what happens from there.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool, man. I love it. I really like the idea behind it. I think it can be something that, moving into the future could be really cool. I think, as Deji said, the only thing that I would love to see is, cross chain. But maybe they just love Solana. Obviously, it's the place where a lot of things are happening right now. And ultimately, if somebody developed this, the version 2.0 is cross-chain, and there's probably a bunch of other features that they can add to make it even better. Maybe they could do some automatically, connect your wallet to it so that when you do it, you can, you can check certain things, and there's a bunch of other things you can do. But yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I think, yeah, as you were saying, you need more innovation in the space, and long may it continue. With that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.